Assalamu alaikum and thanks everyone for start watching my today's video. I'm Muhammad Abdul Alim Shubho, level 3 students of Department of Biomedical Engineering of MIST. Today I'm going to talk about the dialysis machine. Firstly, we can see here a figure of dialysis machine connected with a human body. Next, we will know about the different parts of it, its use and how it works on human body beneficially and its demerits also. Firstly, we should learn about the word dialysis. Actually, it's a combination of two words, actually Greek words, dia and lysis. Here dia means throw and lysis means loosening or splitting. Dialysis is a process of removing waste and excess water from the blood and is used primarily as an artificial replacement for lost kidney function in people with renal failure. Actually, it uses for the people who have problems in their kidney function. Here we can call the dialysis process as a holding measure until a renal transplant can be performed. Here holding measures is the keyword. By this word we can say it is the only one process of purifying anyone's blood from toxicity until a renal transplant can be transformed. Thanks to Dr. William Koch for constructing the first working dialyzer in 1943. Though his constructed dialyzer didn't work properly in next 2 years, but in 1945, a 67 years old woman regained consciousness following 11 hours of hemodialysis with the dialyzer and lived for another 7 years before dying of an unrelated condition. She was the first ever patient that successfully treated with dialysis. Dialysis works on two basic principles. One is diffusion and another is ultrafiltration. Both of these process needs semi-permeable membrane. In diffusion, the substances in water tend to move from high concentration area to low concentration area, and in ultrafiltration solutes move from lower osmolar area to higher osmolar area. Now we will know about how does a dialysis machine work. Here we can see that two tubes passes through the artery and vein of a human hand. A tube goes from the artery of a hand, and here we can say that a arterial pressure monitor. This monitor always monitors the pressure of arterial blood that goes through this line. And next we can see a blood pump. This blood pump always pumps the blood, that forces the blood to go through forward. And next we can see that here a heparin pump. Heparin pump means here the heparin getting mixed with the blood, that the blood cannot be clotted. After that we can see that a dialyzer info pressure monitor. In this section the pressure can be measured before it going to the dialyzer. Here this part is dialyzer. Dialyzer works as the main part of a dialysis machine. It works in purifying the blood. After purification of blood from dialyzer, blood goes through this line and flowing through this line, it comes to the air trap and air detector section. Here this section's work is to detect if there is any bubble. It gives an alarm, so we can ensure from here that there is no bubble in blood. Then the purified blood goes through this line and clean blood enters into the human body through vein. Now we will know about the dialyzer. How does it works? A dialyzer is a solution that pulls waste from the blood. Actually, it's the main part of a dialysis machine. It helps in cleaning the blood. Inside the dialyzer, the dialysate with waste blood from anyone's body enters to the machine and flows past one side of the membrane. The membrane is a barrier that keeps the blood and dialysate from mixing but let waste through. Dialysate is the special fluid that pulls waste from the blood. So it flows past to the other side of the membrane. Waste, extra fluid and chemicals move through the membrane into dialysate, and clean filtered blood goes back to the body. So in short, we can say that in a dialysis machine, the dialyzer works in a way that the blood with waste products will flow past one side of a semi-permeable membrane. On the another side of the membrane, there is a special substance called dialysate which pulls the waste from the blood. The waste such as urea will pass through the membrane. In such way, a dialyzer works. Now we will learn about two types of dialysis. One is hemodialysis and another is peritoneal dialysis. Firstly, we will learn about hemodialysis. It will be easier to learn with the diagram. So we go through the diagram. In the diagram, we can see that blood goes through from artery to this line and going through the dialyzer machine. The dialyzer, we previously discussed about the dialyzer. It works as a purifier of blood. Blood goes through this line and the dialysis fluid goes through this line. Purifying blood from this dialyzer, the purified blood goes through this line and goes through the vein. In such way, the hemodialysis process occurs. Next, we will learn about peritoneal dialysis. In peritoneal dialysis, actually a sterile solution containing glucose is run through a tube into the peritoneal cavity. Here the abdominal cavity around the intestine, where the peritoneal membrane acts as a partially permeable membrane. The peritoneal membrane or the peritoneum is a layer of tissue that containing blood vessels that lines and surrounds the peritoneal or abdominal cavity and the internal abdominal organs. In the diagram, if we see that the abdominal cavity and this is the intestine, and here the peritoneal membrane inside the intestine acts as a partially permeable membrane. So we can say that using the intestine, the dialysis that occurs is called the peritoneal dialysis. The abdominal cavity is used in this dialysis. Mechanism used for purification that we have learned already. Two types of process, by diffusion and ultrafiltration. I have learned about the diffusion and ultrafiltration. Now we will discuss about these two terms more. We will learn how diffusion and ultrafiltration works on this dialysis process. Firstly, diffusion comes from Latin word diffundere, means to spread out, and we know that the diffusion is a process that solute across the semi-permeable membrane and passes from the high concentration area to low concentration area. And in ultrafiltration, we have already told that the low osmolarity to high osmolarity process is followed in this process. So in diffusion, the dialysis solution with some body wash, blood cells are too big to pass through the dialysis membrane, but body wash begin to diffuse into the dialysis solution. Blood cells and the body wash diffusion is complete. Body wash have diffused through the membrane, and now there have equal amounts of waste in both the blood and the dialysis. So in short, we can say that the matter we have already discussed. In diffusion process, blood flows through the dialyzer machine, and the dialyzer works as a semi-permeable membrane and cleaning the blood. And in ultrafiltration, here we can see that blood cells are too big to pass through the semi-permeable membrane, but water in blood is drawn into the dialysis fluid by the glucose. Blood cells and water, ultrafiltration is complete. Water has been drawn through the peritoneum by the glucose in the dialysis fluid. There is now extra water in dialysis fluid which need to be changed. So in such way the process of ultrafiltration occurs. We will discuss about different important parts of dialysis machine. Among them, dialysis membrane is one, and we have already learned that about dialyzer. Dialysis membrane is actually used into the dialyzer in hemodialysis. On the other hand, in peritoneal dialysis, we use the lining of patient's abdominal cavity as a dialysis membrane. Now we will know about the dialysate solution. The dialysate solution is a dialyzing fluid that is non-sterile aqueous electric solution that is similar to the normal levels of electrolytes found in extracellular fluid, with the exception of buffer bicarbonate and potassium dialysate solution. Actually, its osmolar level is 300 plus minus 20 millimoles per liter. It is used especially to ensure the patient's safety and prevent red blood cell destruction, hemolysis, or crenation. Then we will discuss about the anticoagulant. Anticoagulant is actually we used as anticoagulant heparin. Heparin is used as a anticoagulant. Here heparin helps us in preventing blood clotting. During the dialysis process, when blood passes through the tube, blood can be clotted. So preventing the clotting of blood, heparin mixed through the blood. Next we will learn about different types of valves. Different types of valves used in this process. We can see in this process for controlling pressure and for detecting air bubble. In many cases, in this dialysis machine, valves are very important to controlling the whole process. Many types of sensors needed in this process. We can call it the full of sensors. For measuring the blood pressure sensor, the dialysis pressure sensor, the temperature sensor, saturation, motor speed, dialyzer, membrane pressure gradient, and air, all are monitored for proper values during dialysis by this type of sensors. Different types of sensors are very helpful in completion of this whole process. Perfect dialysis cleaning system is very important. Heat water or saline can be helpful in this process. Heat water or saline needs to be high sterilized temperature and then run it through the machine. In recent development, the researchers are developing wearable artificial kidney for dialysis patients, which provides continuous dialysis 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, reported as upcoming paper in the clinical journals of the American Society of Nephrology. The device essentially is miniatured dialysis machine worn as a belt, weighs about 10 pounds and is powered by two 9-volt batteries. Because patients don't need to be hooked up to a full size of dialysis machine, they are free to walk and work or sleep while undergoing continuous gentle dialysis that more closely approximates normal kidney function. So after the whole discussion, we can say that in kidney dialysis, this type of steps occurs. Firstly, blood enters the machine from body, pumps, controls pressures and flow rates, anticoagulant added to prevent clotting, blood passes through the dialysis membrane, bubble trap removes any gas bubbles from blood, and blood is filtered then returned to the patient's vein. There are also some problems in dialysis process. It is difficult to control the diffusion of the substance in a dialysis machine as well as in a kidney. So people on dialysis often have to be carefully control their fluid intake and diet. And dialysis can involve a patient going to hospital up to 3 times or 4 times in a week and being connected up to the dialyzer for about 4 hours at a time. This could have a large impact on person's lifestyle. And problem with the hemodialysis. In these steps, the main problems is to rapid changes in BP. People can vomit in between sessions, different fluid restrictions. There have some fluid restrictions, more strained with hemodialysis than peritoneal dialysis. Then loss of independence, problems with access, poor quality, blockage, infection, etc., etc. So we can say in peritoneal dialysis also some problems. In peritoneal dialysis, some kidney patients get tired of responsibility of doing their peritoneal dialysis every day, and some peritoneal dialysis patients find it difficult to accept a permanent PD catheter. It will affect on their daily life. Then dehydration, discomfort, poor drainage, and fluid overload is also. Finally, we can call the dialysis machine as a artificial kidney, because it works like a artificial kidney and helps in preventing or helps in purifying our blood. So thanks to William Koch for inventing such a wonderful thing. Hope in future we will get more feature and more amazing things will come for the well of human being. And finally, thanks to you, all of you, for watching my video with great patience. Hope you have liked the video. Stay tuned for getting more videos and stay safe. Best of luck.